Hello and welcome to GameSack. Consoles and PCs get more and more powerful as time goes on, but one thing remains constant, and that's that 2D games are incredibly awesome. So I'm here to talk about some recent-ish 2D games that you can play on your polygon-munching consoles and PCs. First up, let's see how Sega handled the latest in the Shinobi franchise. This is Shinobi, Art of Vengeance from Sega on the PlayStation 5. It's also available for the PlayStation 4, Switch, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, and the PC. It was developed by Lizard Cube, who previously did the Wonder Boy 3 remake as well as Streets of Rage 4. As a result, this game showcases some amazingly animated 2D visuals, but more on that later. You play as Joe Musashi, and the story makes it clear that this is the same ninja from pretty much all of the previous games. Well, the ones that mattered anyway. The story is that the world is in danger, and you need to save it. Listening to me describe the story any further would be boring, I think, but it's certainly cool as you play it. Your main attack is your sword instead of the usual shurikens, so right away it strays away from the Shinobi games that you know and love. You can still throw them, but now they're called kunai. You carry precious few of them because the old Shinobi gameplay is for losers. You also have ninja magic, several kinds actually. Many are weak and you can use them after hitting the enemies a few times. You then hold L1 and press the corresponding face button to use that magic. The more powerful ninja magic requires that you fill your Rage Gauge! This takes a lot longer to do, but the attacks are more powerful and impressive. The enemies are all mostly damage sponges, even the common weak ones. The game will often lock you into an area until you defeat a whole bunch of enemies that keep respawning until the game feels that you've had enough. This'll kinda makes the game feel more like a beat 'em up at times. It's also not uncommon to be attacked by enemies who aren't even on the screen. The control can also be slow sometimes when attacking. That's because you need to wait for your animation to finish before you can dodge or do anything defensive. Here's a note for all you developers out there. Please let any attack that's currently underway be cancelled if the player does anything to dodge an enemy attack. It would go a long way towards making the game feel super responsive. The platforming and level exploration controls are great though. You've got your double jump, which is effortless to do, no special timing needed like the Revenge of Shinobi. You can also dash mid-air with the R1 button, which can give you a pseudo triple jump when used after a double jump. You also collect coins and you can buy stuff in a shop. Most of these are more powerful attacks or magics, but you can also do things like extend your life bar. You have a menu where you can assign different medallions or whatever to increase your abilities as well. The stages are all very long, some of them far too long. They can also be very maze-like, and we all know that video game developers love mazes. There are lots of checkpoints though. This one is more of a Metroidvania because, well, of course it is. It's a modern 2D game. How can it not be either a beat 'em up or a Metroidvania? That's all anyone knows how to make these days. Just check out all the other games in this episode. The good news though is that you can warp to any checkpoint you've made it to when you go back into a stage to unlock more things once you get the ability. Many of the stages like to pander to nostalgia. I mean they're homages to older entries in the series, like this boss from the original game, or this bonus level where you ride your dog Yamato. It certainly looks like the horseback stage from Shinobi 3. And yes, that is the very same dog from Shadow Dancer. The game can be difficult because the enemies soak up so much damage, but there are a lot of options that you can mess with to help with this. Graphically, this game is amazing, like I mentioned. There are tons of perfectly animated characters, enemies, and bosses. The game features a nearly uncountable amount of parallax scrolling. In fact, some objects almost look 3D, but nope, they just have that many layers. I remember one guy leaving me a comment somewhere saying that nobody cares about parallax scrolling. Well, I think a ton of people care, otherwise such effort wouldn't be made in virtually every 2D game ever from the 16-bit generation on. The only graphical thing I don't like is when the screen gets dark. It just looks bad, like they chose the wrong color space and the video is being misinterpreted by the display. That's not what's happening, mind you, it just, kinda looks like that. I think if the dark areas weren't colored blue, they'd look a lot better. What do you think? The game is in surround, but it rarely activates the other speakers. The music is really good, or at least I think it is, but the way it's mixed and used in the game doesn't let you appreciate it very much. There are lots of environmental sounds and the music is mixed pretty low, even after adjusting the settings in the options. The music will change or get louder when you fight certain enemies, but I really don't need so many environmental sounds. I'd prefer a consistent music level. This is not the first game that I've heard do this. The soundtrack was mostly done by T. Lopes, with Yuzo Koshiro turning in several tracks as well. Overall, this game is really good, but I'm not going to go out of my way and say it's mind-blowing or anything. Well, I mean, aside from the graphics, which in my opinion are mind-blowing. I just think that the gameplay itself could be more enjoyable. And to me, it also kind of feels like one of those complete it once and then never again style of games that's permeated the gaming landscape since the PlayStation 2 days. I do think it's worth playing through though. I'm not done with ninja games because I've got another one for you. That's right, ninja gaming is back, baby! Next up is Ninja Gaiden Ragebound from Koei Tecmo. It was developed by the Game Kitchen. I'm playing on the PlayStation 5, but it's also available for the Xboxes, Switch, and PC. I like this one a lot more than I thought I would. The story takes place concurrently with the original Ninja Gaiden on the NES. You start out playing as Ryu, Hayabusa's dad. He dies. Next, you're playing as Kenji, a young ninja being trained by Ryu Hayabusa. You go through the training when suddenly the village is attacked by monsters and demons. At the same time, Ryu Hayabusa gets a letter saying that his dad has died and he needs to go take care of the stages in the NES game. You, as a trainee, are left to deal with the much larger threat attacking the village. Your main weapon is slashing with your sword. You don't have a double jump per se, but you can press the jump button to bounce on enemies and certain projectiles to further your airborne reach. You also have a dash move with the R2 button, and you're invincible while doing this. The controls feel good, and never too slow like they sometimes do in the Shinobi game. In fact, it feels like a Strider game. Kinda looks like one as well. Soon, you'll find yourself playing as a female ninja from the clan of your sworn enemy. She controls in a similar way, but tosses shuriken, I mean kunai, instead of the sword attack. She can shoot in 4 different directions, which is nice. There are certain enemies which have an aura around them, and when either character defeats one of them, it makes their attack stronger for a short time to help with defeating larger enemies. In fact, virtually any time there's a stronger enemy around, you'll likely find another enemy with an aura so you can defeat the stronger one more quickly. Of course, there's a shop where you can buy things like talismans which you can equip to gain powers, reduce damage, and things like that. It's not a Metroidvania, believe it or not, but you can revisit the previous stages you've beaten. Yeah, I think we can have one game that's not a Metroidvania or a beat-em-up in this episode, but yeah, we'll just see what the rest of the games are. After playing a couple of stages with both characters individually, they're kind of fused, and now you have the abilities of both at the same time by using different buttons. The girl's power doesn't last forever, and it will need time to regenerate if you use it too much. Sometimes you have to separate, and the girl character will run around to trigger things while the dude stays trapped. I kinda hated doing this at first, but I soon grew to love it. You have a limited amount of time, and you need to hit the blue orbs to refill it, so don't dawdle. The game can be quite difficult, but it never seems unfair. Like Shinobi, you can adjust different aspects of the difficulty to your choosing if you must. Getting a few different talismans, like one that lets you refill your life at checkpoints, certainly helps. Graphically, we've got a pixel art presentation that looks pretty damn good. It's done well without any shimmering in the scrolling, at least when played in a 4K resolution like I'm doing here. What are these weird bars here though? Is that a bug? At least they went away. There's plenty of parallax here, but nowhere near the amount of the Shinobi game. One effect that I don't care much for though is this waterfall, because it scrolls at half the frame rate as the rest of the screen and it's not very pleasant on the eyes. There's a scanline/CRT filter that you can turn on, but to me, this looks pretty ugly. The sound experience is awesome. One thing this game absolutely excels at is the music. This is some jammin' stuff, and I like it more than the music in the Shinobi game. The developers didn't put it in the background either. It's front and center like it should be. Oh, and this game is in full surround sound. For me, the game plays back in 7.1 audio. Well, 7.0 actually, as there doesn't seem to be any discrete subwoofer, but it still hits pretty low. And yes, there is a center channel in this one. So, is this better than Shinobi Art of Vengeance? Gotta be honest, I had more fun playing this one. It's more arcadey and I prefer the less complicated control scheme. Both are excellent, however, and you should buy and complete both of these games today. This is Tiny Barbarian DX for the Switch from Starquail and Nicholas. It's also on the Xboxes, PlayStations, PC, and even Mac and Linux. I can't believe I haven't mentioned this one before because it's pretty old. I feel like I've had it forever. You are a barbarian in this side-scrolling action platformer, and your mission is to be tiny. You can walk, jump, and attack with your sword. You can also do a downward elbow smash. Sometimes you can do a long dashing attack, but this seemed to happen randomly for me. You can climb on ropes, vines, or chains to ascend. You have a life bar, and as it empties, you can refill it with meat. You can break away cracked blocks Castlevania style to reveal goodies or even hidden passageways. You also collect lots of coins, and these will add to your overall score. There aren't any shops or the like to spend the coins at. You make your way through the stages, and usually they end with a boss of some kind, but not always. What's cool is that the enemies stay dead once you kill them. So if you know there's something you want to go back and get, you can do it without worrying about getting attacked by foes that have respawned. If you die, you reset to the last screen you entered, and your score resets to what it was at the point you originally entered the room. The game can be tough sometimes, but you seem to have unlimited lives, so you'll get past what's ever bothering you with a little bit of patience. The control does feel a bit stiff. Maybe that's because the character's movements are so slow since he's, tiny. It could also be the Switch Pro controller I'm using. It's certainly not my favorite controller in the world. But even so, the game is completely doable if you stick with it. It'll just be a little bit annoying in a few spots. It can definitely become repetitive though. Graphically, as you can see, this game uses pixel art. This game is from 2013, and back then, pixel art wasn't as refined as it is now, so it doesn't look as nice as the more modern games that use this style. At least it doesn't shimmer when it scrolls, and honestly, I'm kind of surprised. Of course, there's some parallax here, which looks good. Weirdly though, the entire game is super letterboxed, and I can't figure out why. There are times that there's ground below that you can jump to, but you can't see it because of this. What a strange choice for them to make with this game. There are no options for CRT filters or scan lines. The sound effects are okay, but the music is pretty good. You'll hear NES-style chiptunes in there, as that was required by law with any game that used pixel art back then. I've owned this game for a long time, and I've only really played it now. I don't know why I waited, it's pretty fun. However, I'm not sure why I have it. It doesn't look like something I'd be interested in buying myself, I don't think. I really can't remember how this game came to be in my collection, but I'm not sad about it. Okay, so far there's only been one Metroidvania-like game and no beat-em-ups. Has there been some kind of mix-up? Well, let's see what the other games in the sack are. This one's called Angry Video Game Nerd 8-Bit from Retroware and Programmancer. I'm playing the Switch version on the Switch 2 here. It's also available for the PC, the PlayStations, and the Xboxes. It's also coming to the NES in cartridge form. And that's what this game is, a game designed to run on a real NES, but naturally we can't have that now, so you can go straight to hell. I received a code for this one, just so you know. The Angry Video Game Nerd is a YouTuber that's bankrolled by the publisher of the game. This same publisher also sells GameStack t-shirts and Blu-rays. So this is a platformer where you run, jump, and shoot a gun. You can also slide. One thing you can't do is duck, because again, you can go straight to hell. It takes after Mega Man. Each stage is loosely based on one of the games that the nerd has reviewed. You've got legally distinct enemies, settings, and bosses. The game is designed to be hard solely for the sake of being hard. If that sounds like fun to you, then well, just go out and get it right now. To me, it becomes kind of annoying, but I'll be honest. I'm more annoyed that I'm wasting lots of memory recording the gameplay when I keep dying than I would be if I were just playing it casually without worry. I mean, I have to sift through all these deaths as I edit this. Yeah, I know, poor me. You do have a stock of lives and you can find plenty more. You have unlimited continues, but you have to restart the stage. These stages aren't overly long, so it's not much of an issue. There's also a password feature, curiously, but it does save your progress so you don't need to worry about writing it down. Hopefully they don't cheap out on the NES version and not include a battery. Unfortunately they didn't. It'll be password only, and it costs $70. Nice! If you die too many times in one place, Shit Pickle appears. If you activate him, he'll help you out and make whatever was bothering you a complete breeze to get past. Now, okay, I'm not really up on my AVGN lore, but why is there a pickle covered with poo? Yeah, I know it's a thing, but I don't understand why it exists. Does James stick a pickle up his own ass from time to time just for fun? Oh well, it's the free country. The version of this game for modern platforms features brand new and even some old video via FMV. Remember FMV in games, full motion video?
Okay, that's 2 levels down and 4 to go.
I like the lighting in these, it was done really well. It was also shot at 24 frames per second, whereas the typical episode is shot at 30. Weirdly, the audio is out of sync with the video by about 7 frames on the Switch 2. The video follows the audio.
I'm gonna play a good game for once, before my brain melts like a dog shit sundae in the hot desert.
Graphically, the game is pretty good, given that it's limited by the NES hardware. There's some nice detail here, and hell, even some parallax scrolling in a few of the stages. It takes place in a window, of course, since this is technically an NES game, but that window is a bit too narrow, as the aspect ratio of a TV hasn't been accounted for. The FMVs, however, fill the screen. There are a couple of incredibly awful CRT filters. Seriously, these might be the worst I've ever seen. Gross. The music is not bad at all, it's quite good. Overall, I don't think this is one I'm going to be playing too often, but I can see how it's enjoyable. Here's Neon Inferno on the PC from Zenovia Interactive and published by Retroware. It'll also be on the PlayStations, Xboxes, and Switches. I received a free code for this one. This is mostly a run and gun which takes place in a dystopian, not-so-distant future where everyone on the planet smokes. That's how you know it's dystopian. You can choose to play as some dude or some chick, or both at the same time with a friend. Basically, the story is that you need to kill people, and so you do. It's not just a straight-up run and gun though, you can shoot into the distance just like Dick Tracy on the mighty Sega Genesis. Actually, a better comparison might be Cabal since you have a reticle to move around. Or, for you kids out there, Wild Guns would also be a valid comparison. Shooting on your level and the background are accomplished via different buttons. Sometimes you even have to use the Dick Tracy firing method on enemies in the foreground. If you hold the firing button, the reticle will stay put as you jump, and you can't shoot while you jump. However, if you let go of the background firing button at any time and then press it again, the reticle will have reset to the lower center of its overall range. You can also deflect bullets that are green back at the enemies who fired them at you. What's more is if you hold the deflect button down, you go into bullet time mode, which allows you to choose the angle of deflection so you can hit something specific. The game can be chaotic with lots of things to pay attention to on both levels. You'll probably die a lot, but once you get a feel for the patterns, you should probably be mostly okay. You have a life bar, which is nice, but I would have liked to see some health refills scattered about. After the first stage, you can choose which mission you go on next. You can also go into a shop and buy things like cool weapons. These are extremely expensive, and once you use them up, that's it, they're gone, so I don't really see the point of bothering with them. The length of the stages all feel just right to me. They don't overstay their welcome at all. Each boss has at least 2 modes that you'll have to deal with. If you die on a boss fight, you'll need to start the entire fight over. Now, this certainly doesn't sound unfair, but it can be a bit jarring when the scenery and gameplay styles change between modes. Like here, where I'm chasing after the evil senator on a motorcycle. Lose here, and then suddenly you're back in his office fighting his robot bodyguard, and you're like, hey, I've already taken care of this part, why am I back here? Graphically, the game uses pixel art, and it's all very impressive. It has tons of color everywhere, which is accomplished with special lighting and fog. There's no shimmering in the scrolling, even when scaling it to a non-integer resolution. I like how there are tons of different enemies, especially the large machines and vehicles, and they're all animated quite well. The scrolling can be pretty dang cool as well. There are some adjustable CRT filters that you can enable, and generally these look pretty good if you set them right. I think I could probably make them look better than they look here if I spent more time with it, but the option screen barely lets you see what you're doing as you adjust the settings. This one is also great musically, with a Blade Runner inspired soundtrack for much of it. The first Blade Runner. There are some settings which have scene appropriate music, like when you're in this building where an opera is taking place. There's also some other singing here and there. This is an intense game that's a hell of a lot of fun to play. It's pretty tough, but it does feature different modes of difficulty. I started on medium and then switched to novice just to make sure I could get as much gameplay footage as quickly as possible, but I think medium would be good for most people. Definitely check this one out. Wow, starting to regret wearing this Metroidvania shirt. I thought it fit in so well with this episode. But at least this next game is a beat 'em up, so there's that. This is Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Rita's Rewind on the PlayStation 5 from Digital Eclipse. It's also available for the PlayStation 4, the Xboxes, Switch, and PC. I have absolutely no nostalgia for Power Rangers since they came well after my time. Man, I'm glad I grew up when I did. This one's a beat 'em up, and for the most part, it's fairly good. You fight a small assortment of drab-looking enemies in most stages. Among the enemies is this guy who holds a rock, or whatever it is. I am not enjoying my life whenever he's on screen because I have to make sure to get behind him in order to hurt him. Go away, idiot, no one wants you here. The action is fast-paced and responsive, though you don't have a wide arsenal of moves. You can attack, dash, jump, double jump, and jump kick. Once a meter builds up, you can unleash a super attack to damage everything. And yes, there is an elevator stage. Usually, after a beat 'em up stage, you'll move to a forward-scrolling segment where you control a reticle and a lion at the same time. Sorry, I mean a mechanical beast at the same time. Gotta keep reminding myself that this isn't Voltron, even though it very clearly wants to be. These segments can last for a bit, but at first, they're more interesting than the beat 'em up parts. After this, you all merge into a crappier version of Voltron and punch the enemy to death. Here, the object is to hit the enemy enough to charge up your sword. Once that's done, you can basically defeat the enemy right away. The game deals with time crystals, and sometimes the enemy throws one at you for who knows what reason. You punch it a few times and then time rewinds like a VCR because life is one big videotape, I guess. Do this a few times, destroy the time crystal, and move on. This was pretty cool at first, but the game does this a lot, so it can get kind of old. After each action segment, you can power your character up in one of 3 areas based on your score. You can also go to the juice bar and switch to a different character to play. You can even play an arcade minigame where your goal is to bomb other traffic just because it's there. Hell yeah! There are actually 4 of these little arcade games to unlock at the juice bar. One thing that kind of bothers me is all of the screen shaking that goes on during the beat 'em up parts. The screen will shake every single time an enemy or player is knocked down. If you're playing on a larger screen, it can be quite annoying. And guess what? There's no option to turn it off. Awesome! The game features 5-player co-op or 6 players if you unlock the Green Ranger. On the PlayStation consoles, I've read that this is currently limited to 4 players as either the hardware isn't powerful enough or Digital Eclipse simply couldn't figure out how to do it. Graphically, the game looks great. It's pixel art and there is no shimmering in the scrolling. There's lots of smooth and fast scaling and rotation on the non-beat-em-up segments that reminds me of classic Sega arcade games. It's these parts where the game really shines visually. If you're epileptic, be careful. Musically, the game is super good, with most of the tunes having the Power Rangers riff in there somewhere. The sound effects aren't as good. The punching sounds are soft and weak, which makes attacking enemies extremely unsatisfying. I think the fun factor of the game would improve if these sounds weren't so wimpy. There are some voices in here, but they say the strangest things. They like to ask for help a lot, like all the time.
Can someone help me out here?
That might make sense in a multiplayer game, but in single-player mode, the game should know better. And the red guy says this a lot after he gets knocked down.
I'm just gonna get back up.
That's so dumb, why even say that? This game only supports stereo. I like that the game tries to change things up in an effort to help with the repetition. But even these divergences become repetitive once you find yourself doing the same exact thing in the same exact place again. These bootleg Voltron segments are especially tedious. Still though, there are some good things in here and it's worth renting to see if you'd like it. That's still a thing, right?
A little help, team.
Here's Death Wish Enforcers on the Switch from Monster Bath Games and published by Limited Run Games. It's also on the PlayStations and the PC. I had never even heard of this one until I received the codes for the game. Oh boy, where do I start with this one? Well, basically this is Sunset Riders if it existed in the 1970s instead of the cowboy days. And also if Sunset Riders had slow control and was stiffer than a board. It's definitely very R-rated, actually scratch that, maybe a heavy PG-13. PG-14 maybe? 14 and a half? You select one of 4 characters to play as, and 4 can play simultaneously. I of course choose Filthy Larry. Another character is a Charles Bronson parody. I'm not quite sure who the blue-haired lady is a parody of, but I'm fairly sure the last character is probably Pam Grier. They each have their own unique guns. You walk, shoot in various directions, jump up and down levels, just like in Sunset Riders. Except here, everything is noticeably slower. As you defeat enemies, coins are scattered around, like the Genesis version of Sunset Riders specifically. Grabbing these only adds to your score, so you don't need them unless you're chasing a better spot on the high score table. It can be quite difficult to avoid incoming bullets and attacks. I learned fairly quickly that it's best just to not try to avoid them. Just max out your lives and continues in the options screen and hope that you can make it. The game also assigns shoot to the B button and jump to the A button on the Switch. And you can't change it! Please let me change it! Sometimes you can crouch and shoot, but other times you can't, like when you're on an upper level. But trust me, you're gonna want to crouch and shoot. I understand why they did that, so you can shoot at the enemies on the lower level, but as a result, sometimes there's no way to hit the enemies on the level that you're on because you can't crouch. Okay, this all sounds pretty bad, but hold up. The game is also on the PC via Steam as Death Wish Enforcers Special Ed, and it's not published by Limited Run Games there. And you know what? This version is a hell of a lot better. The game moves at the speed that it should. I can now actually walk past falling signs without getting hit. As a result, the game feels much better to play and not as hopeless. They also added a Roger Moore James Bond type of character to this one. This version of the game definitely spent more time in the oven. I went from thinking very negatively about the game to actually really enjoying this a lot. I'm not sure why the console versions weren't updated. The game still isn't perfect though. The developer loved these motorcycle stages. They're kind of awkward and you'll lose a ton of lives here as it's so easy to get hit. After the first motorcycle stage, you'll often be bombarded by enemies on motorcycles who can be difficult to avoid. I'm not a fan of anything to do with the motorcycles in this game, but I do appreciate the attempt to break things up. Overall though, this game is still very fun. There are some dogs in here that you can shoot, but you can turn the dogs off in the options menu if that's something that would bother you. Graphically, the game looks nice for the most part. Most of the animation is kinda stiff. It's less of an issue on the PC even though it has the same animation frames, probably just because it feels better. There's certainly some nice looking pixel art in here. This boss looks super cool and even has some scaling going on. There's some nudity in here, which of course I am not gonna show you. Unfortunately, the game does shimmer when it scrolls. Yuck. At least on consoles anyway. On PC, there's none of that nonsense. You have some mild scan lines that you can turn on to take the edge off of those pixels if you like. The music is definitely appropriate for the era that it's vibing, and it's good stuff all around. There are also lots of voices, a lot of which can be pretty funny.
You pigs need an enema.
The entire game is sadly in mono. Overall, I'm gonna go ahead and recommend this one. You should give it a try, but only on Steam. Stay away from the console versions if you want to have a good time.
Thank you. Thank you.
My lucky day. My lucky day.
And there you go, more 2D games for your modern platforms. For me, Ninja Gaiden Ragebound was the best game in this episode, but there were no truly bad games here. But how about you? Have you played any of these, or do you plan on picking any of them up? Let me know. In the meantime, thank you for watching GameSack. Oh hell yeah, new tripod, check this out. It can go left, it can go right. Here's a close-up of me for no reason whatsoever. It can even go up and down. And another close-up, why? Future of GameSack is off the chain. Rubber handle, factory fresh. Woo! Better than glue.